Why are nuclear bombs seen as the ultimate deterrent? If they really are so harmful, wouldn't the people launching them also get wiped out because of nuclear fallout? Yes, with many launched in a war-like scenario, it would be mutually assured destruction, which is what was the worry in the Cold War, with cities gone and a nuclear winter causing mass famine, etc. But a few detonated in a war zone actually won't hurt much besides that area, like in Japan in WW2 or the many tests the US and USSR did over empty areas. They probably tested hundreds of them without any changes to the Earth. I wonder how many going off it would take to change the atmosphere. That's the whole idea. It's called mutually assured destruction. Nobody would dare use them because they know the retaliation would be so awful, and it would be like Fallout 3 by the time it was over. But you can't give up yours if the other guy has them, so there's really no other choice. Using nuclear bombs is not an effective deterrent, in fact quite the opposite. But having them is, for much the same reason nobody is whipping their dick out and pissing in a bear's face. If the bear ate you, it would be hunted down and killed, but that wouldn't keep you from being eaten. No, the fallout from nukes is a lot less than the fallout from a nuclear reactor meltdown. Like the US detonated well over 1,000 nukes, and we're not living in Fallout universe. The reason nukes are seen as the ultimate deterrent is because you wouldn't attack a country with nukes. Cause if you did, you would at best take a severe black eye, or at worst, be completely annihilated, especially if you yourself didn't have nukes. That's why they are seen as a deterrent. It's the mutually assured destruction doctrine. If a major power launches its nukes, its enemy will detect them and launch theirs. Instant apocalypse. The concept of mutually assured destruction is precisely why nukes are a deterrent. They don't explode and radiate the whole world. They have an area of impact. We solved the fallout thing in the 50s, but you still get so much dust kicked up that food might become impossible to grow in much of the world. We're a fucking stupid species. Instead of realizing we have the means for everyone to live happily and comfortably, we create ideals that prop up ourselves or others based on worth and greed. It's crazy if you just realize we're all humans and live in the same fucking planet. Creating a mindset thinking a race or gender or whatever is superior is such a ridiculous concept. They are not that harmful, not globally impacting, but they can pretty much wipe out a city, and that's enough of a threat. I think you're overestimating. We can very reliably track what kind of fallout we'll get and how much from many different bombs. It's nothing crazy. Yup, you're using your brain more than some politicians I've seen. A deterrent is a weapon you don't have to use because the fear of its consequences is enough to convince your enemy not to use theirs. Strategic nuclear weapons fall into this category. Also, nobody would launch a strategic nuclear weapon at a target so close that they would be affected by the blast or fallout from their own weapon. They would, however, fully expect to be affected by the blast and fallout from their enemy's counterstrike. There is no real way to win a strategic nuclear war, which is why nobody wants to fight one. Tactical nuclear weapons are a different story, as the blast and fallout radius are much smaller, but nobody has used those either for fear their enemy would counter with strategic nuclear weapons. In other words, blowing up the battlefield with a tactical nuclear weapon might result in the enemy blowing up a major city with a strategic nuclear weapon. This rapidly escalates into both sides taking a throw everything we've got at them approach. Modern hydrogen bombs pretty much only fuck up what they are aimed at. Fortunately, global nuclear war will leave the untargeted regions fairly untouched, because they've gotten so powerful that one exchange could cause extinction. If one fires, another fires back, and the cycle repeats for as many defense agreements are interconnected within the exchanging nations like a domino effect, everyone gets destroyed. Remember when everyone died after the 2 nukes that dropped on Japan? Crazy, right? Nuclear bombs deter because no one wins. Mutual destruction keeps everyone from pushing the button. Doesn't MAD only work if 0 of the parties themselves are mad? Like tomorrow, if Putin had a bad day and was suicidal, couldn't he just launch the entire arsenal at NATO and not give a damn? This is why I think nuclear war is not a question of if, but when, and probably closer than we think. It's really only a matter of time until someone with their finger on the button either doesn't give a damn, or has lost their marbles. I know in the USA there's some redundancies to prevent a wrongful launch, but can the same be said of India, Pakistan, NK, China, etc.? Even Russia. Really ain't no one going to question Putin's orders, realistically. To add to the discussion, a full exchange between the US and Russia would not be something one would want to survive. Trump and Musk had their little talk about how Hiroshima came back just fine, but it never occurred to them that Hiroshima was hit by a weapon with a small yield, and it was only hit once. At the peak of Soviet deployment, It was estimated they had around 100 thermonuclear weapons, with yields measured in megatons, not kilotons, targeting Washington, D.C. alone. In an exchange lasting about an hour, that's one detonation over D.C. every 45 seconds. For an hour, and we targeted Moscow similarly. It's hard to overstate just how dangerous a nuclear war would be to the future of humanity. I mean, we already detonated 2,600 bombs, and the place where the nuke detonated are the home of 100,000 of people.